Episode 3 of 0 Day begins with Evan Green getting ready for his show. Within this, he questions the existence of the Reaper and berates George for mass arresting people and blaming the common American man. Meanwhile, George throws his pills after reading about the side effects. Valerie replaces Roger and they throw barbs at each other. She takes his office and insists all George's visits are now to go through her. She also comments on George being Roger's NA sponsor, and we learn Roger is actually a recovering addict. In return, Roger brings up her affair with George, explaining the former president's concern when Sheila rehired Valerie. At the same time, Jeremy warns George to play a certain way, but he refuses to do so. Jeremy thinks he's threatening them with Proteus, but George has no idea what he's actually talking about. We now reach day 15, and there has been no progress after the mass arrests. Drea orders Alex to investigate George, while Evan Green claims George has arrested Paul, a Mexican kid, with no reason. Alex needs to use a daughter card to get answers and she hates it. Drea claims no one will question her authority if she brings order to the commission, and she eventually gives in. Elsewhere, George tells Roger to bring proof that Anna is truly dead and buried. He also asks him to refill his prescriptions, which pretty much annoys Roger. On top of that, Lyndon threatens Roger with releasing proof that he's a mole for not pinning 0 Day on Russia. Alex calls for an appointment and learns that Valerie has taken over as chief of staff. She's upset with Sheila for it, but her mother claims she only cares what's best for George. Things are looking bad though, as the commission has no record of arresting Paul. Evan Green continues to weave conspiracy theories involving George around this, and his approval rate starts falling as a result. The influencer also exposes Lyndon's activities before 0 Day and how he has not been arrested. Meanwhile, Alex visits George to ask about the mass arrests, but he refuses to explain himself to the committee. At the cemetery, Roger finds a body in Anna's coffin and has a DNA test done. Suddenly, Nathan shows up and claims that both he and George have to disappear. They, whoever they are, have gotten to George and he can't win. Nathan also asks if George is seeing or hearing things, and Roger is confused by the unhelpful visit. Carl finally learns that they were supposed to arrest Paul's brother and work on freeing him. Mitchell is wavering under public scrutiny though, and the commission is worried about losing her support. They wonder if they need to drop the Reaper lead and look elsewhere. George goes with his gut though and looks into the interrogations. The only worthwhile arrest is Hayes from North Dakota, under whose name the wire transfers were done. When Hayes refuses to crack, George decides to personally question him after going through his file. The former president is charming at first, bonding over their shared military experience. Once Hayes opens up though, George quickly turns on him by threatening his immigrant friend, sick dad and 7-year-old son. He walks off confidently, but suddenly overhears who killed Bambi. There are protests going on outside when Lyndon drags Roger to his yacht. He gives him one more chance to take down Green for putting him on blast. To make things easier, he also has intel on Anna. Roger refuses to manipulate George, but Lyndon reminds him of the dirt he has on him. Meanwhile, Hayes breaks and talks about Leon, the one who came up with 0 Day in the first place. Their server farm is in Idaho, and George notices that Hayes quotes George Orwell just like Green does. Valerie and Carl don't think much of it, but George is certainly suspicious of the coincidence. Suddenly, Who Killed Bambi plays, but this time it keeps glitching. He tries to search for the source, but unfortunately can't find it. We then cut to day 18 and they break into the Idaho server farm and find that someone has tried to burn the equipment. Roger refills George's prescription and shares Lyndon's intel. Hayes and Green are actually classmates. They've also been spotted at the same place multiple times over the years, and at one event, even Anna was present. Valerie wants to focus on the farm as the evidence around Green is circumstantial at best. But with the influencer constantly goading George, the former president shuts her down and orders Carl to arrest Green without a warrant. While everyone is distracted, a curious Roger goes through George's diary. The entries talk about the music, someone controlling it, Anna, and Who Killed Bambi itself, which worries Roger. As we soon find out, there is actually a leak, and the news reports Green's connection to Hayes. Drea tells Alex about Green's forceful arrest and their need for an instant plan of action. Roger is overwhelmed by the situation though, as he drinks and kisses Alex. Similarly, Valerie meets Jeremy in hopes of reining in George. She wonders why George brought up Proteus, and we learn that he was the one who actually ordered the program to be shut down in the first place. Jeremy claims someone else has actually resumed it. And as episode 3 comes to an end, George visits Green in prison and winds up mocking him. So now that we've reached the halfway point in this Netflix series, the pieces are finally falling into place. There are 3 clear mini conflicts that all tie up with the 0 Day attack. someone is taking advantage of George's dementia to possibly take revenge for some wrong that he did back in 1979. But I can't help but wonder why he doesn't remember the CIA program Proteus if he's actually the one who shut it down. Then we come to the connection between Anna, Evan Green and Hayes, which suggests that George just may be on the right path. Roger, Valerie and Alex all want the best for him, but they certainly don't believe him. Lyndon is a wild card here and certainly an opportunist who only cares about his personal gains, but accidentally winds up helping with the investigation. Nathan, meanwhile, clearly knows more than he's letting on. And finally, Mitchell, Jeremy and Drea simply see George as a scapegoat should the investigation not yield the right results. There's certainly a lot going on here, and it's pretty exciting to see where the second half of the show heads now that George has crossed the point of no return. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.